Welcome back to Bookmates with Shelley.
And Yvonne,
Hello, everyone.
happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Veterans Day.
Veterans Day, yes.
If this post in time for everybody to hear it on Veterans Day, we'll see.
If not, it doesn't matter. Time is limited,
Yeah.
limitless, so no worries.
Yes. So today we're doing kind of a short podcast on our recent read, which was the Lisa Marie Presley memoir.
Yes,
And I started it first and listened to it and then was just talking
blown
about
away.
how amazing it was. So you got on board pretty quickly after I started it, right?
Well, people already know this, but when Shelley likes an audiobook, you need to drop everything and listen to it because Shelley is more of the, physical reader. Um, I am more of the, not more of the audible because it has to be a certain type of audible, but I'm okay with them. But when she was telling me about it, I was like, okay, I had a one credit and I downloaded it and yeah, there's no words.
Yeah. And I had heard about it coming out because of just following Oprah's book club,
Mhm.
and that was her pick. And I was like, I've never had really an invested interest in her, in Lisa Marie Presley per se. I mean,
Okay.
obviously knowing about Elvis and knowing about her growing up, but I never really thought twice about it. It wasn't, because there's like diehard fans and followers and things like
Yes.
that. I was not that way. But whenever I was watching some interviews and listening to her daughter Riley talk about it, who co wrote it with her,
Yes.
her mother, it just kind of grabbed my interest. And I was like, you know what? I think this is going to be a good audiobook. And then when I found out that Julia Roberts did the narration, I was like, oh, that's going to be really pleasant to listen to.
It was amazing. They both did a flawless job.
Yeah, and so to just give those who haven't read it a background, so Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of Elvis Presley, she had started doing interviews to work on this memoir before she passed away.
Yes.
And once she kind of got through all the interviews, she went to her daughter Riley and asked her daughter to help her co write it because she really didn't know how to put all of it in a cohesive manner and make it to where it would be interesting for readers. So Riley had started working on it with her before Lisa Marie
She
passed away.
passed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that also I don't if I remember correctly, Riley was saying that her mom didn't finish all of it.
No.
That she passed before everything was finished and that she also went to her because she said that there were some things that she didn't trust how she remembered them.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So that's why she wanted that, Riley's input on
Yeah.
it.
Which really had such a great cohesive flow
Oh,
to
it
it.
was perfect. It was
What
perfect.
I what I my biggest takeaway from that is I've listened and read memoirs a lot. I like
Yes.
memoirs, and how it unfolded with, Lisa Marie's perspective, which Julia Roberts would narrate, and then it would maybe follow up with a little clip from Lisa Marie herself.
Yes.
And then Riley would come in after that and talk about specific moments during that time period that she remembered. It was such a really wonderful flow.
It was
And
very organic.
yeah, and it was very engaging because
Mhm.
sometimes memoirs can get boring after a while of just, going through their life history. This just kind of kept it real interesting and grabbed your attention, I felt.
Yes. Yes. I think that one of the things that really caught my, that captured me. First of all, Riley's voice,
Yes.
it's enthralling, it's magical. I remember you texting me saying I could listen to her all day long.
Mhm.
And I agree 1,000%. But, it's not very easy to, transmit, to be able to, to transmit to others what you're feeling, all the time. But the way that she talks, the way that she, um, I don't wanna say storytelling because it wasn't storytelling. The way that she recounted,
Yes.
the things that happened, it was so it was so beautiful and so heartbreaking at the same time.
Mhm.
Uh, and I don't know, I feel that both her and Julia did such a wonderful job honoring Lisa Marie's, ¿cómo
Her
se dice?
life.
Yeah, yeah, and, and her essence as well, you know?
Mhm.
Um, I you were saying it's weird because I wasn't a super follower of Lisa Marie, but I remember every time I saw something of her, in the news, I always felt so sad. It
Yeah.
was, oh man, some people you can see pictures of them and you can just feel the sadness. And when she was talking and when she was saying that people always said that she just looked so sad,
Yes.
it broke my heart because, yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I definitely and yeah, I would see bits and pieces and I felt the same way. Like I felt really sorry for her, and I feel that way a lot about celebrities. I mean,
Yes,
with the
same.
paparazzi and how they're just followed. I actually um years ago, I would say, I mean, probably 10 plus years ago, I stopped following, like, the People magazines and all the celebrity gossip magazines because I felt like I was feeding this,
Yeah, you're part of the problem.
part
Yeah,
of the
that's why they
problem.
keep, doing all of those things.
Yeah, and I really just I mean, because 'cause they're human beings, and I think and this book really, really focused on that and really humanizing Lisa Marie Presley
Yes.
and, really seeing her for the depth that she had, because you don't see that, in the day in, day out, and she was
No.
a very complicated person
Mhm.
and had some deep, deep emotions and feelings about life in general. And I mean, I think that they did a great job showcasing that for sure. Um,
I remember when she was, talking and saying that she she understood very early on what her father meant to so many and why so many people thought or had this sense of that, she was also part of them,
yeah,
because it happens, we see someone in the spotlight and we see them how they start and how they evolve. And sometimes you talk about them and it's almost like, oh, because so and so, and it's almost like oh, I know this person, but because you have been privy to so many things
yeah,
of
that's
them.
true.
And I've always had a problem when people say, well, they signed up for this. They knew what was coming. No, they don't. They
No,
didn't
and
know.
especially not her, who was just
Yeah,
a
especially
part
the
of the
families.
dynasty, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's why I've always had a problem with when people talk about spouses and kids of
celebrity.
celebrities and even of, political figures as well,
Yeah,
when they, you know, just pick at them at every single thing that they're doing. It's just horrible. I'm like,
mhm,
why? Why do people do this?
yeah. Yep, and that was interesting. I was really curious. The only the one part of Lisa Marie's life that I do remember because I was obsessed with Michael Jackson Like, he was my crush growing up.
Really?
Oh, yes, yes. My sister gives me so much a hard time for that, and she did. I mean, I loved him.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So I do remember that period where she was married to him, and I was
Mhm.
curious how that all came to be, and that
Yes,
was their link was they were both just these massive celebrities, and they really had a depthness that nobody else could see, but they could see that in each other,
yes,
and that's why they connected over that, and they bonded over that, and it was almost like I could see her, like, just seeking that and needing that so much, and so same thing for him too, and so that's why that kind of relationship got started, and I thought it was interesting too just to hear her perspective on, because Michael Jackson's gotten so much flack, and who knows what really happened and
yeah,
whatnot,
yeah,
but she did make that claim that as far as she knew and from the time that she spent, like, that was
mhm.
not something that was
That
observed
she
or
saw, yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
so I
And
thought that was
I
meaningful.
agree, I would think, that that's true because the way that she mothered,
Yes.
I don't think she would put her kids in that position, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think so either. And so going back to that just the motherhood part of it, that's what I really grasped too, how
Yeah,
much she just loved her kids, like, loved them and how much she wanted to be a mother and how much she loved being a mother.
yes,
And I mean, I definitely connected with that. I thought about us and because we're the same way with our kids. I mean, they are the center of our world.
yes,
And even when things are stressful and we're running from one thing to another, I mean, they're still just we love being moms and we love
yes.
being their moms and we would do anything for them.
I really liked, um how she talked also about Lisa Marie's, relationship with her mom,
Mhm.
when she
Yes.
was saying,
That was
that
painful.
yes. When she I think she had, I think she gave her mom, some grace
Yeah.
because she understood that, her mom was also, so young when she had her.
Mhm.
Um, and, you know,
And it
um,
was unexpected.
yeah. And, again, you see this man that you're infatuated with, and you just want to be perfect for him, there, it was so interesting, and for her to understand that and to, be so open as well with the relationship that she had with her mom and how she was able to, um, look for other ways to connect with her when she was older.
Yes.
That was very, for me, that was very powerful. And also, I'm a daddy's girl. My dad for me is my everything. And the way that she talked about her relationship with her dad,
Yes.
it was so beautiful, and so sad at the same time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think it just shows her depth again and just what a good person she was to be able to extend so much grace to her
Yes.
mom because it'd be very easy to just be like, "Mm-mm, we are
Well,
just not
that
gonna have this."
also, yeah, and that also tells you how much work she has done with herself,
Yes.
Not everybody is ready, or wants to do that kind of work, It's
Mhm.
easier for you to be the victim
Yeah.
and to keep, putting blame, and it's harder for you to try to understand why that person hurt you the way that they did, even though you didn't, it they didn't want to, but they did,
Yeah. And you hit
Yeah.
the nail on the head there. I mean, that was one thing that I really loved learning about her is that she never played the victim, and she
No.
totally could have at any
Yes.
point, and she never did. Like, she never
She
gave
owned
that.
her she
Yeah,
owned her thing. Yep, I
yeah.
agree 1,000%.
But yeah, hearing about her relationship with her dad was it was so sweet, and the intensity that that love was, and the intensity that he had, like, that's what I really got through the entire book, was that they were just very intense people.
Yes,
And you've
yes.
heard that, like, I've heard things in the past, like interviews about Elvis or whatnot, and that was one thing, like, he was just passionate, and he would be passionate about, each thing. Like, he would kind of be single focus. That's what
Mhm.
I kind of gathered with him, and he would just put his all into that, and it was, maximum. And
Yeah.
she just, as the book progressed and as they were narrating it and Riley was putting her take on things, I got that about her too, that she had that same ferociousness and like intensity about the things she cared about.
Yeah.
So,
Well, ep for me, I really thought, with that, one of the things that really, jumped out for me was, I think she was that intense because she had so much loss,
mhm.
at such an important loss, at such a young age, that she just, she decided that she was going to, be there and live her life the way that she wanted to because, it's fleeting, you
Yeah.
know?
One thing, what else I loved was her relationship with her first husband, Riley's
Yeah.
dad. That was beautiful. Like, it
Yeah.
was, you know, I wouldn't even know how to describe it, but the way that he loved her
Mhm.
as well, enough to be like, "Hey, we have this thing, like, we love each other, and we're not necessarily great together, but we're gonna be each other's number 1 cheerleader, and we're
It
gonna be there."
transcended, yeah, it transcended so many, levels, and again, you could see the level of maturity that you have to have for that. It was completely unconventional, and, but I don't know, I felt that that's what you get from a person that is really focused on what you feel and what you receive from that person versus, and again, she didn't have the struggles that we have, because her life was completely different, but in a way she had the same or even worse,
Yeah.
but I really love how they would always come back,
Well,
um
and how wonderful for their children
yes,
to
yes,
have that partnership, because that's what it was. It was a partnership. It's like, "Hey, we signed on together to do this thing and be parents, and we're going to continue being parents, and we're going to preserve this bond between all of us for the kids and make it as normal as possible." I mean, the fact that he still lived on the property with her,
yeah.
and what I felt was so, tragically beautiful, was that he was with her
He
in
was
the
there.
end.
Yes,
And I
I
mean, that
remember
just was
seeing
like,
that.
oh.
Yes, yes.
I mean, what a love story,
Mhm.
if
Yeah.
you really think about it. I wonder if he'd ever write something one day about their life together. I'd be really curious to hear his perspective on it. But he's a very private person, so I don't know if he'd wanna.
Yeah, I don't think, I think that, yeah, I think that the way that he loved her, was so unique because, she was, I think he loved her for her,
Yeah.
not
Oh,
for
not for
who
the
she
fame,
was,
not for
you
the
know?
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
Even with Michael Jackson, I still felt that part, a very big part of it was, you know, the illusion of also, who her father was. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Um, Even if it, evolved into something else, but yeah.
Well, and it really seemed like everybody around her really truly did care for her and love her and want the best for her, like in her little immediate circle, because you can
Yeah.
hear as her story progresses and how she does dip into depression and and becomes an addict and all that stuff. Like, Riley is still her number 1 champion, is continuing to fight for her the entire time. And again, it just, generational, right? Like,
Yes.
Lisa Marie herself, like we said earlier, still tried hard with her own mother. Riley didn't give up on Lisa Marie either and kept, just following up and pushing her to do better and trying to help her through it while also living her own life and not getting sucked into the pits of it, but you could just. And when Riley would talk about those moments, I mean, how many times did you cry in that book?
Oh,
Because I
I
cried
I lost
just
count.
about every time Riley would speak, because you could just
Yep.
you could hear it, you could feel all of the emotion in her voice.
But for I her their dynamic was beautiful, and it was very unique.
Yeah.
But I also felt like Riley was the mother,
Mhm.
as Lisa Marie was the mother to her mother.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
Um
that generational cycle, how that
yes.
happens.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But the difference was that Lisa Marie was all in for her kids.
Yeah.
She would, be there 1,000% for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that part. And how they and I also felt very, very sad for Riley. It
Yes.
broke my heart that
Oh,
she
yes.
was that, in that position, and that she had to go through that. What really broke my heart was how she talked about mental illness, and how she saw that her dad suffered from some things, and she suffered from it, and she saw that her son was also so similar to her dad.
Oh, yeah, you were talking about Lisa Marie
Yes,
and
yes,
her son being similar to Elvis.
yes. Ben. Ugh.
Then that that wrecked me.
Yep. It broke my heart.
It broke my heart, and I think like, it breaks my heart even now where I'm got a frog in my throat just thinking about it. What broke me was when they said that they don't think that he would have done it if he was sober. Like, they
Yeah.
don't think that it was, like, a premeditated, like, "I'm gonna do this thing." But it was just kind of like an impulsive decision that was made without even, and that just broke me, because how often does that happen, that it's just for people to do that, and that it's not even it's like, they're at a low, they don't even know they're really at that low, but then something like triggers and they're like, done.
I have had two people very close to me that did that to
Mhm.
themselves, and I can tell you without a doubt that I'm sure that the moment that they took that decision, they weren't in they were just tired.
Yeah.
They just wanted that
Relief.
sense of despair to
Mhm.
go away, and they were not thinking clearly. That's why for me, that's something that I have always felt. So when I was listening to that chapter, it was just so heartbreaking, you know?
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
that chapter was just gutted me, and I remember I was listening to it, I was kinda doing some things around the house, and then it started, and I was like, "Oh, no. Oh, no," and I just stopped everything, sat on the floor, and just listened and just cried and just oh, the pain, and what one thing that I really admired about Lisa Marie was her tenacity and her spirituality,
Yes.
and how she really felt like she needed those 2 weeks to spend with him after he passed
Mhm.
away.
Yes.
I thought in her comments about that, like, how we do funerals now and how quickly everything
Mhm.
happens, and, having just done that with my grandmother a few
Yes.
weeks ago, it is so fast, it doesn't really give you time to
To
grieve
process.
properly, to process it, to just be with that person. So, like, there was some comedic relief in that chapter when she was
Mhm.
talking about it and with the
Yeah, and it
tattoos
was
and
needed.
the
Yeah.
tattoo artist, which I thought was
Yeah.
so funny, I was laughing. But, on the flip side of it, it was like, yeah, I mean, to have, like, a true wake, I mean, they
Mhm.
used to do that way
Yes.
back long time ago, and they would preserve the body so that you could be with them and really experience all those stages of grief and loss. And so I thought it was profound that she really insisted on that and was able to do that. I felt like, I mean, that was incredibly healing.
Well, she talks about her soul so much and how she connects with everything, and for the listeners who don't know, I do this kind of work. I'm a medium, and it's very interesting to connect to some um souls when they depart. And for example, for me, I do not connect with them until there's been a certain time frame, because they're still learning and processing um their transition. So when she was talking, I was like, "Yep, exactly."
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was
People need to
wondering.
understand this, everybody's like, "Oh, nope, you have to give them time."
Yeah.
And she knew, she's like, okay, he's ready to go, and we're ready to move. And the way the way that she talked about him, when she said that she kept receiving messages from him.
Mhm.
That was just so beautiful. And it really, I really connected with the spiritual part of it. And we had talked about this. My son, my middle one, he went to Graceland past March. He is very spiritually sensitive, like me. And I remember when he came back, and he was the way that he was explaining what he felt in Graceland was exactly what Lisa Marie was saying, and how she was talking about this energy vortex that she felt there. And you were telling me,
Yeah.
that you had. And I remember Ignacio telling me, he's like, I I felt as such a like an invasion of privacy taking pictures there.
Mhm.
And a lot of people afterwards, when they went to his burial place, he's
Yeah.
like, I would not take a picture there because I feel, that's disrespectful. I agree with him. We can do a completely different podcast on how I feel with about those things. But the way that she was talking, and the way that she was explaining how when Riley, when her surrogate was pregnant with her daughter,
Oh, yeah.
the way that she was telling is like, just talk to that soul, talk to her, let her know, um what you want, or that you're ready for her. The way that she was talking, I something that really solidified the spiritual maturity that Lisa Marie had, was when she was talking about Michael, that he was so adamant that he wanted to have kids with her.
Oh, yeah, and
She told him no,
yeah.
that she wouldn't do it. You know, she knew what that karmatic, like, thing was, that the energy that those little babies were gonna have when they came into this world,
Yep.
from both sides. And she's like, nope, I'm not
Mm-mm.
gonna do it, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it was super interesting.
I
I
know.
I really enjoy that part.
Yeah, I figured that you did. I mean, and I didn't realize that she was that spiritual and that connected, and it was, I did. I went to Graceland in 2006 or 7, I think. And we took a bus to get there, and cuz there was a group of us, and I felt nauseous on the bus, like really sick, like I was kind of having some hot flashes. I was like, "What is
Mhm.
happening?" And when I got there, I did feel like this, like it this like immense heaviness and just weird energy throughout it,
Mhm.
and it was like it's like voyeurism, like, I just didn't feel
Yes.
good about it, and I
Mhm.
remember we started walking up some, I don't know if it was a side staircase or something, and I got super dizzy, like super, super dizzy, and thought I was gonna throw up. I was like, "I need to go, like, where's the nearest bathroom? I need to get off of this property," and
Mhm.
I didn't go to the gravesite either, like, I didn't do any of that. I was just like, "I am done. This is just." I just didn't feel great about it, and I'm I think that the family has done well with preserving certain parts of the house,
Yes.
'cause you don't see his bedroom, you don't see, like, his living quarters or on the upper level, and you don't see all of that, and I think that that's great, and I thought it was interesting. Didn't know that they go there frequently, and they hang out
Yeah.
even when tours are happening, and they just kinda stay up, and
Say,
then once
yep.
everybody's done, then they come down and, they're everywhere, which I love that. It makes it more real, and it makes it more like, "Okay, this isn't just a museum. This is our home. This is our
But
life."
it also, that made me sad
Did.
too,
Yeah.
because for me, my home is very sacred,
Yes.
and again, we come back to the energy that we bring. There's so many people that go through there,
Yeah.
and there's so many things that happen in that place, and so many sorrows, and just having that, and for people to keep coming and coming, it
Yeah.
amplifies. That's why you felt that
Yeah.
way.
Well,
It's too much.
and I gotta give it to the family. I feel like you tapped into it early on, like, they do realize how many people just
Yes.
genuinely care and love Elvis and love the family and all that, so it's like, "Okay, here's our compromise. You
Yeah.
can come and do this part, but then this part is gonna be forever sacred to us. You will never view this part publicly. This will be our special little spot." So, I
Yeah.
feel like that was a pretty good compromise for the family,
I agree.
and
I
so
agree.
such a mature decision too to
Mhm.
be able to do that.
Yes.
So, yeah, so overall, I rate the whole book 5 stars.
Same.
And I don't know if I would have felt that way reading it. Probably, but just hearing
I
it,
don't think we would have, maybe, I think reading it only, I would maybe have given it like 4,
probably.
4.5, but the audio part was perfection,
Yeah, yeah.
It was so good.
I would love for Riley to narrate anything at this point too.
Anything,
Her voice is
anything.
just incredibly
Wonderful,
soothing.
wonderful.
It
Yeah.
was just a steady, I don't know, I mean,
But
it was
even with the steadiness, because you know that sometimes people, when you talk, some people have to really get into it and
yeah,
like change their pitch, and she with the same
you could still
wavelength,
feel it.
you felt every single thing.
Yeah.
Every single thing. Her happiness, her sorrow, her desperation, her
Mhm.
awe, all of
Mhm.
it. All of
Yeah.
it. She was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Bravo. Well
Yes.
done.
Yes, yes. I really appreciate that when Shelley writes the when Shelley writes the review, she said body read, and I was reading it and I'm like, body read, aka Shelley reads it first and then he was at it second. I was telling it to my son, to Ignacio, and he's like, totally, mama.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, but at least it didn't take me like three
No,
weeks.
you went through it really fast. I know, and then,
Listen,
my friend Doreen in the neighborhood, she got on it too, and I think, she read it really fast too. We were talking
yes.
about it
Well,
the other
you
night.
couldn't put it down.
You
It
really
was such a
couldn't.
good
Yeah,
book.
I would find normally, I listen to audiobooks on the way, dropping kids off on the way back, and then maybe I'll do some chores around the house and have it in, just depends, but I
Mhm.
usually just stop. I just could not. I mean, I just left it in all day as I'm just walking around the house doing stuff. So, yeah, it was great.
I agree.
So, what I would love to do, so as you were explaining, for those of you who don't know, Yvonne does readings and she's a medium and she's done readings for me before. And she has her own business that does all that, which, if you want to know all that, you can DM us and Yvonne can give you all that info if you want to get a reading from her. But we thought, in in with respect to Lisa Marie and her spirituality,
Honor
we
her.
thought that it
Yes.
would be so great to do, um, to pull a card and do just a reading here today with all of you.
Yes.
So, take
So,
it away, Yvonne.
and I will go ahead and pull a card for us, and I'll take a picture of it and send it to Shelly so we can, for the people that are listening and not viewing it, they can also go ahead and have. So I am going to pull a card from a deck that is called Ask the Angels, and it's an oracle deck. And like I tell all my clients always, the important part is when we get a card that we understand that this is something, that it's a guide of things to come our way. If we don't like something, we can always change it. We just have to, work for it. So let's see. Ooh. So the card that I pulled for us, it's from Archangel Chamuel, and it's called Divine Justice. I think it's very proper. And the medicine, like I say, is the following. Um, the name of this archangel means he who sees God. This, in and of itself, describes the meaning of divine justice. To see God or spirit is to see the perfection that exists in all things. Everything that exists in our universe, every single atom, is part of a perfectly synchronized dance. Whether we see it or not, everything in this universe and everything that occurs is occurring in perfect balance and order. Divine justice is about truly understanding the perfect order that exists, both in life and in our lives. It is about seeing the deeper meaning that exists behind all the events you have experienced, are experiencing, and how every event has taken you to where you need to be to see the patterns that have occurred in your life. It is time now for seeing the deeper meaning behind your experiences and becoming responsible for your reality. Like she did. She
Mhm.
was always responsible for everything that she did. It is time for complete honesty with yourself. There is no such thing as actions without consequences. For every action comes a reaction, whether to manifest something, experience loss or love, or simply learn a lesson, pleasant or painful. We are constantly creating our own reality through how we perceive life and how we choose to act in this world. Ooh, that one.
That's
How
good.
we choose to act in this world, especially, nowadays. It is not our responsibility to control how others act or what consequences they may or should experience.
That's a good one.
That
I
is a good
love
one.
it.
Yeah, me too.
And it's good too for this time of year, I feel like.
Yes.
It's totally on point with, we're rounding, out this year and
Mhm.
really having some of that perspective going into the next year and not carrying things over from this year.
We need to release
Mhm.
a lot of releasing
Mhm.
because when we do that, we give ways to the things that need to come into our lives.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for doing that.
But thank you so much for the opportunity, friend.
So I'll put some notes in of this in the show notes, and
Yes.
then we'll post it too, just so for those that um didn't didn't see it,
Yeah,
we'll have it there.
perfect.
So, all right.
And we will come the next podcast is going to be a very interesting one. Let me tell you guys, we're going completely 180
We
from
are.
a memoir. So yeah. So
Yep.
again,
Stay
Kelly
tuned.
already finished it, but I'm almost done and it's so good.
Yep.
So good.
Yep. No spoilers. We will come back again next week, likely,
Yes.
and talk about something, like you said, a complete 180 from today.
Mhm.
But this was nice. It was a nice
Yes,
little break in the
I loved
other
it.
what we normally read, and I
It
loved it.
was needed.
It was. I mean, it really, one thing that kept resonating with me was family, 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 and the
Yes.
importance of it. And we can get so wrapped up in our everyday lives and
I agree.
just the world around us, especially right now. And we kind of can lose sight of those little things. And I have on my computer, I have this reminder all the time, and it says the family cannot revolve around the extracurriculars. These things must revolve around the family. And it's just a reminder all the time that life is going to happen, but we need to come back to our soul, and our soul is our family and the people in it, whether it's, whether it is blood related or not. And,
Yep.
like this past weekend, we had our neighbors over, and we had them over like 2 nights in a row. And it was so great that community, and just putting that in the center of our life. And it was just so refreshing, and it just filled our cup up. So we have to just remember to do that.
And I'm happy that you listened to it when you did,
Yeah.
especially with, the earthly departure of
Yes.
your beloved grandmother. I think it brought a lot of good reminders, like you said.
Hmm.
Um, and there's this song, a John Lennon song, that it says, "Life is what happens while you're busy making other plans," and that's true.
It's so true.
we are so focused on so many things that we don't have to be giving our energy to.
Yep.
And yeah, and for example, us, we both of us have a lot of things going on all the time, but we have grace with each other. When we
Yes.
can meet, we meet. When we can't, we can't. But the intention is always there, and we're choosing to be present, and
Yeah.
that's what we want to. That's what this book reminded me of. Choosing to be present in the in the world, and with the people that we have around us. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep. All
I
right.
love you, friend.
I love you too. Okay, until next one time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.